Well, farewell to October 2025. We're now in November. This is November 1st. And I got to do some harvesting from my garden in November. That's right. Stay tuned with me and I'll show you guys what I learned that I need to do. We'll be right back. So welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. Fall. I mean, we're full into fall. We set the time back. Yeah, we're already there. And goodbye to October. My pumpkins are sitting on the porch curing, and I've got some on the front porch. I'm enjoying the splendor of the colors of these flowers that I purchased from the end of season sale. I mean, I got them for pennies on the dollar from my local supplier, and I just set them in the greenhouse for several months until I was able to get out in the spring and plant them. And this is a result of the planting this spring. And then these big white tall flower bushes, I forgot what they're called, but I planted those from seed because I got a seed packet set and those flowers were in the set. So I got to go in the greenhouse and get the basket, but I mentioned this in my last garden video about the apple tree. I was so excited because I saw these little berries, little beginnings of apples. Well, folks, that's all they did. They just produced those little berries. I thought I got a apple tree that grew 5 variety of apples, but these just are not producing. This is like the 8th year of the growth of this tree. I'm going to write to the seed company where I purchased this tree from, and I'm gonna complain. So I had to come in here and grab my basket of tomatoes that I already harvested. I wanted them to ripen out. And in fact, the rest of my items here, I'm going to go ahead and set aside because I have to get all of the green tomatoes off of the vine. And these I'm just going to set aside. See if I can do something with the seeds. See, these can go over here with the rest of them. And these are, some of them I'll save a few seeds from and I'll grow them next year. But for the most part, all this is for the chickens. And then I'll move these beans over. I just saw a video on how to crack beans and harvest the beans out of the pods. And I'm going to try that method. I'll show you guys later on how I do it. But some of these tomatoes are ripe. I've got to get them laid out so they continue ripening. Now I'm going to make a homemade garden salad tonight, and it's going to include some of the ripest of my tomatoes here. Yeah, here's some really good ripe ones. So I'll come through and pick out some good ripe ones. And it's a cauliflower crust pizza. I did one before, in fact. I have a video I did on that pizza, so I'll just go ahead and leave a link. So let's head out to the garden and start collecting some green tomatoes. Now these tomatoes I've been keeping them tented because we've been getting frosty nights, and I know some of them aren't doing well. In fact, the plastic is holding moisture in, and that can cause mildew on the vine. So it's just time to get those tomatoes off. And I think I'll harvest these later too. I think the loofah is done, but I've got to pull this plastic off and get these harvested. I've got tons of them. I gave it a good chance to ripen on the vine, and I did the best I could to get a lengthened crop on my tomatoes. I'll take this out here. I want to spread it out and let it dry out before I'll have to do it both sides today. Spread it out and let it dry out before I fold it up and use it for next year. Waste not, want not. I think this is 10 by 20. Yeah. It's always nice to have extra plastic on hand. I just want this to dry out. Yeah, and later today we'll just flip it over and dry the other side out and let the sun do its job. I think that's good enough. Ooh, look at that big tomato over here. Yeah, it's right there, and I think I'll just grab what tomatoes I can salvage out of these. Yeah, I don't know. These are all frost damaged. Well, at least the plants are. At least give them a chance to ripen in the greenhouse. I feed that one to the deer. And that way I have some tomatoes to make marinara sauce, which I've never made before. Make some more spaghetti sauce, and of course a lot more salsa, and a missed cucumber, just a little one. Yeah, whatever. Ugh. Now I watched a feller try 4 different methods of ripening tomatoes. And one method he tried was just tomatoes in a bowl by themselves, and a tomato in a paper bag with an apple, tomato in a paper bag with a banana, and tomatoes in a paper bag as a control, just to see which ones ripened the most and first. And you know what? Just the tomatoes in the bowl by themselves, in the open air, on the countertop, had better success at ripening them all, most of them, rather than in the bags with the other fruit. Because as that fruit ripens, you know, it gives off a gas, and that gas is theoretically supposed to help ripen. And in fact, I also just recently learned that when you store potatoes and you store onions, do not store them in the same room, because the potatoes will cause the onions to go bad fast, and the onions will cause the potatoes to go bad fast. So that's what I learned. Don't do potatoes and onions in the same room. So that if you guys have been doing that, that's why your crop doesn't last very long in storage. I didn't know that. I'm learning all kinds of stuff just as I research. I'm loving these tomatoes. I gotta go spread these out on the screen in here and get an empty basket. And I guess spreading them on the screen here is probably going to be the same as spreading them or just laying them in a bowl and let them ripen in the bowl. And of course, there's recipes you can do with green tomatoes. I've done those recipes before. I'll leave a link to, I think it was green tomato salsa is what I made. Pickled green tomatoes. And yeah, there's all kinds of things. You don't have to waste these. So, God, these bushes are just loaded. I really am impressed by this variety. These are Roma tomatoes. I got in a seed collection of different fruits. So we'll just pick these and get them spread out and then check on them daily as they ripen. Yeah, see, there's ripe ones down underneath close to the ground. And I'm theorizing that is what helped with their ripening, was because the heat of the ground helped them. What? Got nothing else going on. I'm retired. Yeah, right. I'm gardening. I'll be hammered processing all these tomatoes. I think that's it. That's all I'm going to do. That's it. All right, let's get these in the greenhouse. Then I'll come bring the wagon out and pull all those vines. And I have one of 4 burn piles I could put those vines on. Yeah, look at this insane pile. I have no choice. I have to dump these over here, and I'll just sort out my ripe ones. Because look at this. What? Okay, yeah, I'm impressed. I am really and thoroughly impressed. I got enough here to do something with, aside from just slicing them and putting on that homemade pizza. I got to go out in the garden and see if I have any fresh basil out there. I know I do because I can smell it. I'll go ahead and mince up some of my garlic and put that on the salad too. Yeah, a garden salad. Hey, what do you think? Leave a comment. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is an epic garden harvest in November. And I still got that little indoor plant. It's a cherry tomato plant that's growing in the greenhouse. I'll be harvesting from that all year. I may take one of these plants, dig it up, transplant it in a pot, and set it inside the greenhouse and continue growing that throughout the winter. I think I will. And I opened the door during warm days so the bugs can get in and fertilize them. Yeah. Stay tuned to more videos. You can do that by subscribing, clicking that bell icon that alerts you to new videos as I upload them. Give me a thumbs up. Share my videos on your social media platforms. Really helps out a lot. Remember, be safe. Always be kind. You know what? I'm going to see you guys in a new adventure. Yeah. Got neat stuff going on around my life. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye.